Welcome back. We are here with Mission 6 of the Factions campaign, Arborstone. Obviously, we are not in Kaining anymore. We have moved on to the Echovald Forest. And at this point, I will give a quick tidbit on the factions here. It's split between Luxon and Kurzik. I am very much Luxon, which means I am probably going to roast the Kurzik side. I am not apologizing for this. Feel free to roast the Luxons as you like, but there's no good reason to. Kurzik side has Eternal Grove. Any argument you have is invalid beyond that. But anyways, it determines the allegiance of a outpost. So right now, why that matters is I technically have more Kurzik than Luxon faction because the Zaishen Vanquishes this week had 2 Kurzik areas that I just had to do for the double coins. But if I have more Kurzik faction and I go to a Luxon area and try to talk to a merchant, it actually doesn't work because they currently see me as Kurzik sided even though my guild is actually Luxon. But the instant I go back here and I interact with this merchant, everything works because this is a Kurzik zone. So just keep that in mind when you're going through your inventory and things like that. How much faction do you have on one side versus the other? So anyways, terms of comp, nothing's really changed here, so we'll go ahead and get rolling. In terms of the Master's Reward for this, both normal mode and hard mode have a time limit of 30 minutes to get Masters. Again, should be a pretty easy time to hit. Just make sure you're careful around the Wardens. In particular, you want to look for Warden of the Earth and Warden of the Spirit. Earth is as it says on the tin there, a Earth Elementalist. Spirit is an E-Surge Mesmer. Both of them can do large amounts of damage if you're unprepared. That is a poor timing to be knocked down, but fortunately, Warden of the Tree there was not very smart. And then the Warden of the Spring are the healers, and they also carry Splinter Weapon, which can be very dangerous if you let them group together. To assist you, though, with this, we do have a second monk instead of Togo now in the form of Danica Zuheltzer, the only useful Kurzik NPC in this entire game. And even then, she has problems in this mission. The other thing about the Luxons that makes them superior is Xandra, one of the best heroes in the game, is also a Luxon. So checkmate Kurziks. Yeah, that's the reason why in my intro I said the only things I hadn't done in this game were killing Doom and Urgaz's Warren. It's because I have zero interest in Urgaz. I did the deep, that was enough. But anyways, we keep progressing through here. We're going to ignore that Warden of the Spirit there, make sure these guys all run. There is a spirit in the back. These ones shouldn't be too big of a problem. I'll actually flag them back a little bit behind the spirits so you don't get splinter weaponed. Looks like the Warden of the Spirit lost interest. Again, flag them behind the spirits. Just out of range. So right there, what I just got hit by for 40, that was splinter weapon. It is actually a extremely useful skill. I have it on my warrior setup, and it's whoever you cast it on, whenever they attack something, everything around that target of the attack takes damage. So if you can group things together, it is incredibly useful. Just got to be wary of those. Just got to be wary of those Wardens of the Spirit. So they have Shatter Enchantment too, which, as you saw there, can hurt for quite a bit. Plus, it gets rid of my main heal in terms of boon of creation. But mostly done here. There's a few more wardens to go. Flag my guys back up here. And of course, Norgu's going to get himself trapped. Good job. Alright, Norgu, get back there now. The main thing with the trees, beyond just them being the source of, or the target of Splinter Weapon from the Warden of the Spring, is they also have knockdowns to anyone near them. So be careful running near them, because you'll probably get knocked over. Alright, but here we go. Side note about Danica, a lot like Menlo, she will heal minions, and that can cause her to delay doing things that you want her to do. So that's why I ran everybody right up to the door, is so that Danica will open it for us. So inside, we're going to have to clear a lot more wardens. Wardens of the branch are now being added in. These guys are rangers. The main thing to watch out is the bramble spirits they have. If you get knocked down by, say, the warden of the tree, you'll just take some bleeding. Otherwise, I don't think they're that much trouble either. Although they are a ranged delivery method of Splinter Weapon. So just staying away from the warden of the tree no longer makes you safe from that. And the warden boss at the top, we got River. River is the easier of the two warden bosses you can get. Unfortunately, I did not get Mind Flayer. Mind Flayer is a Mesmer boss, so you have to watch out for those Shatter enchantments. You have to watch out for those energy surges. If you have Shelter, make sure it is up there before you actually attack anything. But anyways, what we're doing here is we're just clearing out the cathedral. While we're under it, note we have 20% longer enchantments while you're in the water. So before you go up the stairs, make sure you cast everything. We're just basically going to do a circle up and around the stairs. So yeah, that's the power of Splinter Weapon right there. Warden of Winds, also just or Rangers, not Elementalists. I heard winds and thought air magic. Also be wary of their traps. That's just what went off right there. I just sprung it real quick, so we would be fine. There's brambles and laceration. They make bleeding more effective and cause bleeding when you get knocked down. Not really a major threat, just make sure you keep an eye on it. So right here is where you'd want to cast Shelter if Mind Flayer was the boss up here, but it's not. Instead, we've got Warden of the Earth. So as I mentioned, those are Earth Elementalists. I believe they run Unsteady Ground. No, they run Shockwave. That's even worse. So they run a very powerful AoE spell if you go near them. I'll see if I can... I'll trigger it once. Or see if I can get him to trigger it once on me. Oh, there it was for a second. We would not let it happen. It does a large amount of... It does 3 hits of damage if you're right underneath them, and then doing less so the further away you are. So if you are a melee player, you have to keep in mind that exists. Shockwave also blinds you. So unless you have a Surin scan, it can be a very dangerous hit to take. In fact, there is a very notorious boss in Eye of the North area called Joff's the Mitigator, who is a boss with Shockwave, and that thing hurts. But anyways, we've cleared everything out, so now we can collect the Urn of St. Victor. We're going to quickly collect our items before we go for the Urn. And now the Urn is a bundle, which means it will disable anything weapon. You can't attack, you can't use your attack skills as an extension of that. And you also don't get the side effects from having your weapon out. So I've lost all of my energy bonus from my staff here. However, you can still cast spells. So if you are a melee player, unfortunately you will have to drop the Urn in order to do anything. Oh, there was Tanai's Wind. So there's a second Tanai skill, apparently. I'd forgotten that's a thing. The other thing that's going to happen frequently is the Cathedral Collapse. It's just rocks fall and interrupt you. You just fight these enemies off. So now the Urn of St. Victor, while I'm holding on to it, whenever I take damage, it starts to power up. So right now it's at level 2. And when you drop it, it applies a shield to everybody around you that reduces damage you take up to a certain amount. And so right now at level 2, it absorbs 160 damage. And it goes up to level 5. So now here goes Danica being slow. We are 8 minutes in, and she is not helping. This is why she has problems here. You just gotta make sure she follows you. Doesn't know which way to go. You can go left up that route. You can go right through that little pass. Or you can go right down the middle. Oh, let's get moving before we all die. Having the audacity to tell us to move while she's just standing there. Typical Kurzek. But anyways, you always go down the center. Because you have to fight an extra boss if you go in the other directions. And here you're only fighting more wardens. And then the stone creatures. Which you're going to have to fight stone creatures no matter which way you go. So this way, at least you're fighting things you're used to. And another note about Danica is she does not move unless somebody is holding the urn. So if you're a melee player, do keep that in mind. That, or if you're a weapons user, so whether that's bow or spear as well, not just melee. You have to make sure that you're keeping the urn consistently with you so that Danica actually runs. I'm not going to have that issue because I am intentionally going to hold on to it. I'm keeping an eye on the urn. I'm waiting for it to hopefully hit level 5 before we get to the final boss. Just so I can use it for all that damage reduction. Alright, so now we'll just go to the left over here. Basically, once you're outside of this gigantic room, you're basically done with the mission. You're at the final part. It's the shortest route to get to the boss in my experience. The other sides are far less friendly. The southern route, in particular, I believe is brutal. I forget if it's the northern or the southern one that has the Shatterstone boss. But one direction has a bunch of dredge you have to fight. The other direction has a bunch of Stone Shard Kieran, Undergrowth, Dragon Moss, all those guys. I just prefer to go down the middle and fight more wardens. So up to level 3 now. So at level 3, the damage reduction is now 320. So you can see it's climbing fast. Not a level 4 yet. Well, if they had gotten the trap off, I would have intentionally sprung the trap. And you can usually tell at a glance what power the Urn of St. Victor is at, but and now it's at level 4, so now my damage reduction is 640. So it has doubled once again. I believe it is 1,280 at level 5. But I'm not as familiar with the icons for the urn because obviously I don't tend to carry it as much. Usually I'm doing everything on my warrior. Also, the route you take, there's level 5, so 1,280 damage is reduced to everybody when I drop it. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do that now, since it would be a waste otherwise. So there we go, Supreme Urn of St. Victor, summons him, and then gives everybody a shield. So now I absorb the next 540 damage. And now it's back to level 1. So when you drop it, it resets the level of it. So now we go ahead and take out the Stone Rain. We have a Warden of the Spirit in the back, so I'm gonna sick my I'm gonna sick Razah on it. Okay, well, that was a very quick level 5. Not what I planned to do, but hey, it works. So yeah, anything that does not have weapon skills is a good thing to give it. Like a Paragon's actually good too, even though they often do carry weapon skills through Spear. They can still use all of their shouts, and they're still very effective under that umbrella. Because there aren't really as many weapon upgrades that affect your shouts. Whereas there's a bunch of stuff that affects your weapons. So you don't get your halves casting time of channeling magic spells or halves skill recharge, all that stuff. I don't currently get those procs. But there we go. We are now through the main room. There's going to be some Oni up here. These are just assassins that come out and ambush you. I'm sure at some point while running between these missions you have run into them. They aren't too big of a deal, especially when you have Spirit of Displacement existing somewhere. Yeah, right there. Which displacement can be bought at Kaining from the skill trainer. At this point, you should be able to change yourself to a secondary writ at minimum to buy it. Now, once you get through Napui Quarter, you have access to every single non-elite faction skill. You just have to buy them from the trainer in Kaining. And core skill, too, for that matter. It's not just those. Alright, here we are at the end. So there's going to be a couple more stones that free themselves from these pillars. So we're going to quickly break over to the right here. Get near the door. Because what happens is, as soon as you kill this boss, Danica's going to make a break for the door. So I drop the urn here so I can quickly go for my pull, use my longbow. Which, this is actually the first time I think I've used a bundle in factions. So note about a bundle, if you want to quickly drop it, if you use the skill for any, or the hotkey for any weapon set, it automatically drops any bundle you're holding, which can be incredibly useful. So Stone Judge here, as soon as he dies, Danica is going to break for the door, so I'm going to get ready to protect that. As soon as it dies and I see her run to the door, I'm going to cast all the spirits behind. Yeah, these guys also start running to the door too. So I'm going to go ahead and block them off. That was Shockwave right there. Just keep an eye on Danica. Try to take out as many of these dudes as you can. Once she's had her fun, she'll go to the door and open it for us, I'm sure. Oh, I got rubber banded there. So that's something that does occasionally happen too if you get rubber banded. If you're running somewhere and you're still taking damage from like a melee attack and nothing's near you, it's probably because you rubber banded. Oh, she opened the door. We're done. That was fast. So let's see what time we got. By the way, if you are a survivor character, I would probably skip cutscenes, because you can still get attacked. Come on, show the timer so I don't have to keep talking over everything. But yeah, next up, we will go to the glorious Luxon side and encounter the Spear of Archamoris and get to do all that stuff. Yeah, whatever.
I think, my friends, it's time to leave this place.
Just give me my time. That's what we need.
Lead the way.
Right. Follow me.
Come on, show the time. I hate showing the cutscenes. It's not what these are for.
Glad you could make it.
One down, one to go.
Indeed. Come, Master Toggle will want to hear that we've recovered.
No, we've got a spear to get.
Thank you, Countess.
May the gods watch over you in your pursuits.
It is not showing the time whatsoever. My god. Yes, Arborstone's really cool and all. 17:41, so I finished with over 12 minutes to spare. I spent basically half the time you need. So, as demonstrated, it's really not that harsh of a timer. You can probably go any of the 3 directions and be fine, just middle is the fastest and most consistent. So I always recommend that one. Anyways, that is Arborstone, the first Kurzig mission. Thank you for joining and watching. Hope these are helpful as always, and we will see you for the next one.